welcome to DIY Art Blog. So today I'm going to show you step by step how to paint on a canvas, and for this I'm going to be using this 8 by 10 size of canvas, and it's a panel. It's not a frame canvas, but if you have a frame canvas you can also use that. You can also use a panel, or if you don't have a canvas you can also use like a watercolor paper, to be honest, for this painting, or maybe a cardboard, like wherever you can think of, right? All right, so now I'm gonna be using these 3 brushes today. This one is 1.5 inch, and I'm using this kind of a bristles, natural bristles, and I'm using this round brush. It's number 6 actually. Okay, and I'm using this small tiny one. It's a number 0. Alright, and I'm also gonna be using these colors. This one right here is a black color. This one is a bright red actually, and mine says, so I'm using acrylic paint. So you can find this kind of a bottle at any local craft store. Alright, so yeah, that's a craft smart. All right, now I'm also gonna be using this titanium white, just a plain white, and I'm just gonna use like a tiny bit of blue. To be honest, you can use any blue you have available. For this one I'm gonna show you, like, if you want to make it lighter, you can definitely make it lighter, because I'm gonna make it lots, like a little lighter shade of blue. So that's why you don't need like a dark blue. It's okay if you are using just a plain light blue color. All right, so make sure you have a cup of water so that you can clean your brushes, and just maybe a couple of paper towel. All right, so let's start painting, and let me know what so today I'm going to show you this painting here, but if you have anything else in your mind, just let me know in the comment down below, and I love to make that painting. And also, if you have any question about any materials I use or like anything, just let me know. And yeah, I actually am planning on making like a paint with me video at least once a week, and also another second video for my craft, like any kind of a DIY. It might be any fall decoration, or wood decoration, or maybe ornaments or maybe anything, or maybe stickers. All right, so let's start painting. And if you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you enjoy watching this. So I'm planning on making, so here, these are the brushes I'm gonna be using. I'm gonna grab my big brush first, and then I'm just gonna dip it in my water here. All right, and this is a very super simple painting, like anybody can paint it. All right, so, and make sure you just clean that extra water from your brush. Alright, so these are the only 4 colors I'm gonna be like using. So let's start working on the background first. So here again I'm using my big brush, and I'm just gonna start working on the background first. Okay, so here I'm just gonna take a little bit of white on one side of my brush, and just maybe tiny small little blue there. Alright, and then I'm just gonna add this color down here, and that time I'm just gonna add like a little horizontal line, maybe just right there. It doesn't have to be straight. Remember, there is nothing perfect in nature, right? So we don't need any straight line here. All right, so I'm just gonna go left and right, very simple strokes from one side of the edge and bringing it to other side. Now if you feel like you have too much water in your brush, just dry it on your paper towel. All right, now this is completely up to you, how dark, how light you want your background. This is the ground area again, so I'm actually making it super light, so I'm not taking any more blue. I'm just gonna take just a plain just a white for now. All right, so again, just start from one side of your canvas and bring it to other side, just like that. Maybe I'm gonna make it slightly more lighter, so for that again I'm just taking tiny bit of white. Okay, and then I'm just gonna apply it everywhere first, And then I'm just gonna go on top of that as many times as you like to, because the more you go, it's gonna blend more. So there is no right, no wrong here. Again, you can make it darker, lighter, however you think you want to. All right, so now here I'm just gonna add this color just a little bit, just in the center right here, just a little bit right there. That's it. This is only a background color. Remember, we're gonna add one more color right here, so it's okay if you apply this blue a little bit more than what I have applied here, so that's okay. All right, so here I'm all done with the bottom of this area now. All right, so now here I'm just gonna clean my brush. All right, so I cleaned my brush and I'm just gonna clean that extra water. All right, now I'm gonna work on my sky area, and I'm gonna add like some trees on both of this side. So now I'm gonna work on this area. So for that, I'm gonna be using two colors. So here I'm using bright red. Again, you can check out the list of the color that I'm using on the description. All right, so now again here I'm just gonna take a little white, putting on side of my plate, and just maybe a tiny little red, not too much, just maybe this much. So as you can see, I take more white and a little bit red. Okay, and then I'm just gonna mix it all together, so you can see the difference. It is super light. Right now I'm just gonna take this color on all of the bristles like that, and now think of like you're making a big X. So here I'm making X like that. All right, so for the whole all the white area I have left, I'm just gonna add X there. So something like this, just keep making X's. Okay, so as you go, you might need to make this color more. So just a little tip, whenever you are like creating any color, I know it's very hard to get the same color, same shade, right? That's okay. We don't need to create any of this background color that is one color, right? So one shade, I mean. So that's okay. We don't need to do that. So I always say this, as you are painting, just like keep making your colors. I mean, you don't have to make your paint in a bulk. Otherwise, you're just gonna end up with the one shade in the background, right? So that's why, as you go, create your colors. So as you can see, this is a little bit darker than last time. That's okay. All right, so now let's just cover everything on the background by doing X's. I'm making big X's. You can also go a little bit on your blue area. You can also touch that, that's completely fine. And this is very super simple painting for like all the beginners. If you are painting, if you are just want to have fun, this is very super simple painting. And it's all about fun, right? It's not how it's gonna turn out. All right, so now again, I'm just gonna do this on all the white area I have left, just like that. As you can see, I grab a little bit blue from down here. That's okay. Remember, we want some different shade in our background, on our sky. This is the sky area. All right, so now if you feel like in your painting your sky is almost looking like a one color, that's okay. If you feel like it's too dark, you can do this part with the white color. If you think this area is too light, you can do this with the red color. Okay, so I feel like I really want to add a little bit of red. So here I'm just gonna take like a tiny little red. Okay, and then I'm just gonna clean that extra paint on side of my plate like that, because I don't want to take too much paint and have a bigger glob of this color on my sky. Okay, so just maybe a little bit I clean the like extra paint on side of my plate like that. All right, now again I'm just gonna go very randomly and I'm just gonna add like a big X. Alright, so here I'm just gonna add like a big X there, one right there, maybe one right here, one on top. To be honest, you can add this very randomly on your painting. You don't have to like completely follow me. Alright, so here I'm just gonna add like a big one right there. Alright, now what I'm gonna do, I feel like I have too much of this color on my brush. So now I'm just gonna clean that extra paint on my paper here. You don't have to wash it. I'm not gonna wash my brush because we don't want to take any more water. Alright, so here I clean my brush. Now I'm gonna go back on those brush on those red color, and I'm just gonna spread that and blend it all together with the background color. Alright, again you can also do this same thing if you like with the white color. Alright, so here I'm all done. Now I'm gonna let this area dry a little bit, and then we're gonna start adding some of the tree and also some leaves on the top, and that part is a very fun part. I like to say it's a fun part because it's a messy part, right? So alright, so now make sure you clean your brush before you take your break, or if you want to maybe let it dry first before you move on to your next part. Mine, this area is almost looking almost dry, so I'm gonna move on to my next part. So before you do that, make sure you clean your brush. Alright, so here I'm all done with this part. Now I'm gonna move on to my next part, which is adding some more darker color of leaves down here. Okay, so let's do that part first. So for that, I'm using that same brush. Alright, and I'm just gonna take a little bit of white, and this time I'm gonna make this color slightly more darker than the last time, because this is gonna be the leaves area. Okay, so here I'm gonna mix it all together. Gonna take a little bit more red here. Alright, now for the whole time when I add these kind of leaves, I'm only gonna be using one side of my brush. So I'm not gonna dab like this way. I'm gonna dab using just one side of the brush. Alright, so now this is completely up to you if you want to add your trees on one side only or maybe on the both side. I'm just gonna start dabbing like that, just on maybe about like if you are using a smaller canvas, I recommend to just do it on like a finger size area, like maybe 3 inches over here and 3 inches over here. If you are using a bigger canvas, maybe like a 16 by 20 size, maybe do it like a 6 inches area. Alright, so here again, you don't have to completely like hide your background, because we're gonna add more and more layers on top of this. Alright, so here I'm just gonna add a little bit right there. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, so something like this. Alright, let's do this for all of this area. And I'm also gonna add this little bit on this blue here. Now it's okay if your blue is still wet and you're grabbing some blue. That's completely fine. Okay, I'm also gonna add maybe some dab in the middle here. Alright, that's looking good. If you feel like you are getting similar kind of dots every time you dab, just like turn your brush each time you dab. This way you will get slightly different dots. So yeah, something like this. I'm also gonna add some couple or maybe 3 times on the top of my canvas right here. Alright, I'm sorry guys. Okay, I'm here all done. Now I'm gonna keep making more and more darker colors, and I'm just gonna repeat the same thing one more time. Alright, so now again, do the same thing. I'm not taking too much white, just tiny bit of white, and a little bit more darker, so a little bit more red this time. Okay, this is good. Mix it all together. Alright, and then again I'm just gonna keep dabbing like that. This time again I don't want to hide all of the dabs that I did earlier, so that's why I'm not gonna go too crazy about this. For this color I'm just gonna very randomly dab like that. Alright, and then here I'm all done. Maybe some dab on the top here. Alright, so now I'm all done with this part. Now I'm gonna work on this bottom area. So this part is gonna go like, it's gonna be slightly little bit messier. You might also don't get idea what I'm gonna, like how it's looking like right now, or how it's gonna look after I'm done. But don't worry, trust the process and just follow the steps. Everything will be fine. Alright, so now here I'm using again lighter color first. So here I'm gonna take a little white, and I already have enough red there. So mix it all together. Alright, so now remember last time we used our brush this way, sideway. Now I'm gonna use my brush this way for this bottom area. Alright, so let's do this. Again, all you have to do is just like a little dab. Okay, I'm gonna come all the way down by dabbing it. So since like, just because my blue is still kind of a little bad, so I'm grabbing some blue on my brush, but that's okay. Alright, and I'm just gonna do the same thing on the other side. Alright, we also gonna be using couple more colors, so I'm not trying to hide all of the blue. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Now I'm gonna move on to the next color, which is almost the same color but slightly darker. So here I'm just gonna take a little bit red, mixing it all together. As you can see, I'm not taking any more white from now. Mix it all together. Alright, again I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna like dab. Again, I really want to keep some of the lighter color that I have in the background, so I'm not gonna like hide it like completely. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Like I said, it might look like a little messier right now, but after we add our trees, everything's gonna come together. Alright, so now I'm gonna add a little bit more red here, and I'm just gonna mix it all together. Alright, and we're gonna go back like after we are done adding our trees one more time everywhere where we like dab to add more leaves, right? Okay, so now here I'm all done. Now I'm just gonna add my darker color. As you can see, I'm just going like one time on one area right now. Okay, and then same thing on the other side. Alright, here I'm all done. Alright, so now I'm gonna clean my brush here. For the next part, for the next step, we don't want to use a lot of water. Alright, so now I really want to add like a little bit of white on this area. So if you like, you can let everything dry on the top, but I'm just gonna keep doing that next step. Some of the area is still wet, but that's okay. Alright, so here I'm just gonna take tiny little white, and then I'm gonna clean that extra paint on my plate here because I don't want to take too much of this color. All right, now again, do you remember the first step we did in this painting, like which was like adding axes on the sky, right? So we're gonna do the same thing, starting from top, adding little axes just on the top in the center here, and you're gonna get a strokes that looks something like this. Okay, you might have to go like 6-7 times here, but there is no right no wrong in here. All right, so I add just a little bit of white right there. All right, if you are done with this part, you don't have to clean your brush, because I'm going to repeat that same thing on both of this side, because like I said, this is the background and we're going to keep adding more and more colors after we add some like trees there. All right, so now here I'm just going to take a little bit more white, and then I'm just gonna clean that extra paint on side of my plate like that. We don't need to like take too much paint here. All right, and then just repeat the same thing like you did it on top of this area, right? So I'm just gonna go and add little axes, and what this is gonna do is smudge this red and this white together, and it's gonna be slightly a little bit lighter. And that's what I'm trying to do. The more you go, it's gonna blend more. All right, and then just gonna add a little bit on this side. If you have any other painting idea you want me to try next time, just leave a comment, and I'll see if I can, like, if I get a time, I will definitely make some more videos. All right, so now again I have to go maybe a little bit more over here. You can definitely also use like a different color instead of this red color, whatever color like you can think of, I mean. All right, I think I'm all done. As you can see, I grabbed some blue from my plate, but that's okay. No worries. All right, so here I'm all done. All right, I'm also gonna repeat this same thing on this bottom area. All right, so let's do that. So here again, I'm just gonna take a tiny little white, clean it on side of my plate, and then very lightly, and we want to do this when this area is still wet. I'm not doing it like after it's dry. Still, everything is still wet, and I'm doing this now very lightly. I'm barely touching my canvas. You can add axes or whatever, however you want to apply your brush strokes. All right, now I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. All right, I'm gonna start from top right here. Don't worry if you feel like it's coming a little messier, that's what we are doing right now. Maybe a little bit more white. I'm sorry, I can't really talk when I paint sometimes. Alright, here I'm all done. Now I'm gonna start adding my tree, and you gonna get more idea what we are doing here. Alright, so now if you are done with your big brush, make sure you clean it or leave it in your water, otherwise you won't be able to use this brush again if you are using acrylic paint. Alright, so make sure you clean it or leave it in your water. Alright, so now I think I need more paper towels. Alright, so now I'm gonna grab this brush right here. Again, this is number 6. If you don't have this kind of a brush, if you want to use maybe a small brush, you can also use that. Alright, so now again I'm using this brush. Make sure you wet bristles in your water, wipe it on the edges. Alright, so now it's a time to think about how many trees you want to add. I like to say don't ever count. You don't have to count your tree how many you are adding, but just if you are beginners, just to get give you an idea how many I'm gonna add. So let's say I'm gonna add my big ones right here. Okay, and as I'm gonna add more, I'm just gonna add second here, maybe third, fourth, about like a five trees. All right, so let's start. All right, so now I'm gonna use my middle brush and just a little bit of black. So I'm only covering just maybe a tip of my bristles. I'm not taking whole big of glob of paint. We don't have to do that. I'm just taking tiny bit of paint on tip. All right, so now let's say I'm gonna add my big tree right here, and this tree is gonna go all the way to the top of my canvas right here. All right, so let's say I'm gonna leave about a finger size, maybe a half finger size from the bottom. If you are using a bigger canvas, maybe leave a little bit more space, I guess. All right, so now I like to start my tree from top of the tip, but if you are, I see many people are also comfortable starting making trees from bottom, so go for it if you want to do that. But I'm gonna start from the top. So let's say just right here. Don't worry, we don't need any straight line, right? Remember, there is nothing perfect in nature, so we don't need to add any straight line. All right, so I add my first tree there. Don't worry, we're gonna make it a little bit more thicker in a second. All we're gonna do right now is figure out how many trees we're gonna add, right? All right, so oops, okay, let me take this away. All right, so this is where I'm gonna stop. Now I'm gonna add my second tree on the other side. So let's say again I'm starting from top. Maybe I'm gonna stop right there. Okay, and then I'm just gonna keep adding more and more trees. So the second tree, this time I'm also gonna go all the way to the top. So maybe I'm gonna leave a little space between, and this is where I'm gonna stop. Okay, I'm gonna add my third one right here. This is coming a little bit more down to here. Again, we're gonna make this tree we're gonna make this tree a little bit more thicker in a second after we add all of the trees. All right, so again, now all the trees I'm gonna add, it's not gonna go all the way to the top. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna add one right there, maybe one right here. Just gonna keep adding more and more here. All right, so you basically get idea what I did here, right? I had two here, two, and then some here. All right, so now we're gonna go and make some of our tree trunk a little bit more looks like a realistic, but not too realistic. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this tree first. Okay, so for this, you know how the trees are, right? It's a little bit thinner on the top and a little bit wider on the bottom. So that's what we're gonna do here. I'm gonna start from the bottom, and I'm gonna make my trunk maybe a little bit more wider like that. And you don't have to add this straight line here, it's okay. You can just avoid that. All right, so now I'm just gonna make this more and more thicker. All right, then I'm gonna do the same thing for this one right here. Black is turning slightly a little bit grayish color because we use white in the background and that color is still bad, and that's okay. I don't really want to make my tree trunk like too black, too dark. Okay, so I really like it that it is gray now. All right, and then I'm just gonna make some of my other trees a little bit more thicker. Okay, so now as I'm gonna go and add more trees here, this is gonna be just maybe a little bit thicker, not as thick as I add this two. Okay, so just maybe a tiny little difference between that first and this tree. So you don't have to like, if you're also like painting with me, you don't have to like completely follow me. This is completely like depend on what size of canvas you are using, what size brush you are using. If you are using a bigger brush, you might have bigger trees. If you are using bigger canvas, you might have more space to add more trees. All right, I think I'm happy with that. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and make some of other trees a little bit more thicker on the bottom, so something like that. Okay, and just this one right here. Okay, so these are the last tree. I'm making it more thicker. Now from these other trees, you can see I'm not gonna go and make it like too wider on the bottom. Just gonna go one time. Doesn't matter how it's gonna turn out. If it's more thicker, it's good. If it's gonna be thin, that's okay, because this is far away. You can really see what's going on here with these trees. So as you can see, I'm just going one time and then I'm done. Okay, I'm not gonna do anything from now. All right, so now we're gonna add some more leaves and some longer, like some grass. Okay, so for that I'm gonna use my same brush, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and add some longer, taller grasses. Okay, so let's say this is the tree trunk I have, the bottom of this area. I'm just gonna go ahead and add some grass that looks something like this. Like, we're gonna hide this grass in a second by adding some more leaves on the top, so we don't have to make this like so perfect. Just a little black down here, that's it. I'm adding, like, again, doesn't have to like, I'm sorry, doesn't have to be like too perfect. Alright, just something like that. I'm adding a little longer one for the trees that are closer. I'm just adding very tiny little ones for the trees that are a little far from here. Alright, one last right there. I mean, you can also do some of them on these smaller ones, but you can really see that from far, right? So we don't have to do anything right now there. All right, so here I'm all done. Now I'm gonna move on to my next part, which is adding some leaves. Those are on the ground. Okay, so for that we are gonna be using same brush, so we have to like clean our brush first because we're gonna be using different color here. Let me know in the comment, like if you are trying the different colors, if you want to share with me. I'm also on like Instagram. You can just maybe DM me personal message. Like, I love to see how your painting turned out. Okay, so now I'm gonna start adding my leaves on the ground. So for that, I'm just gonna use my plain red. Okay, so here I'm just gonna take a little bit of red. Every time I add those little dot for the leaves, I'm gonna take some paint. All right, so you get an idea like how much paint I'm taking on my brush, right? So that's why. All right, so now here I'm just gonna start adding like little dashes, you can say. So just something like this, like little dashes, like very randomly I'm adding. You don't have to like leave even space in between. Okay, I'm also gonna add some like on top right here. Make sure you don't overlap your like trees there, just like I did right here. You don't have to do that.
Alright, so I'm just gonna keep adding more and more because I really want to add a whole bunch of leaves on the bottom. If you are really perfectionist, yeah. You can add a real shade if you want it, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just trying to keep it very simple because I know some of you are painting maybe first time here, so yeah. We're gonna add a couple more colors here, so don't worry how this looks like right now. It's all gonna come together after we are done. Like some of the dashes are a little bit bigger, some of them are like very small, so don't worry how it looks like right now. Just keep adding more and more little dots, more dashes.
I really wanted to use these colors. Maybe next time, I mean, not trying a similar painting, of course, but I really want to use like a little purple, like purple color maybe next time for similar kind of a painting, I guess. Let me know what you think. I mean, you can also try using purple because I know some of you like told me last time make something with purple, but I think about that before, but I don't know, I forgot. Okay, so here again I'm just gonna keep adding more and more. The more you go, it's better, right? So just because my black area down here is still wet, I'm grabbing some black, and that's okay because we also gonna be using some black here. So just to let you know. Little bit dry here, I guess, in the middle, because I don't really want to keep this blue like just a plain blue, so just very random in the middle here too, a little bit. Okay, for me it's very hard to stop. I don't know if you are same as me, like. Okay, but this is where I'm gonna stop now. We don't have to clean our brush because the next color we're gonna be using is darker red. So let's make that color. So again, I'm using that same red, taking that red a little bit, putting on side of my plate, and then I'm just gonna take like tiny bit of black, not too much. So you can see the difference, like I take red here and tiny bit of black, mix it all together, and this is the color I'm gonna be using. It's almost like a maroon shade, maybe a little bit black, a little bit more red. Okay, all right, so yeah, I don't know if you can see the difference, but this is the color I'm gonna be using. All right, so again, just like you did with your red, just go mostly under the tree area first. I'm only gonna go under the tree. Okay, maybe I'm gonna make my red a little bit more darker because on the canvas my red and that darker red is almost looking same. So sometime when you paint, it looks slightly different than what you can see on your plate. All right, so this is the color again I'm gonna be using. So yeah, just make a little dot and see if it's dark enough. If not, just add more black there. All right, so again, I'm just gonna add this color around my tree area first, like that. Okay, so let's do the same thing for all other trees. You can also touch your grass too, that's okay, because I am trying not to leave any space around my bottom of the trunk area. So yeah, something like that. Okay, and then I'm just gonna repeat the same thing for all other trees I have. Alright, so here I'm all done adding this darker red here. Now I'm gonna add some more of this color on just very random area, to be honest. Alright, and here, yeah, again I'm taking this color, that same maroon shade, and I'm also gonna add just very randomly, like I'm picking on, let's say I'm just working on this area. I'm just gonna be working on this area, like just left and right little dashes, and then I'm done with that area. I'm gonna move on to the other one, just again very randomly. You don't have to like completely follow me where I'm going, what I'm doing, just any area, to be honest. Okay, so again I picked this area. I'm just gonna add like 4 or 5 dashes there, leave it alone. I'm gonna work on the other area. Okay, I'm sorry, sometimes I'm not that good at explaining, but you can see what I'm doing here, so you can just follow that, to be honest. Alright, so here again, just this one area here. Okay, maybe little dashes in the center on my blue. Alright, here I'm all done. Now I'm gonna add one last color, which is white. Okay, so let's do that. Here I'm just gonna clean my brush. And I'm using that same brush, just in case if you are not comfortable using this big brush, you can also use your small brush. I'm talking about this one right here. It's number 01. Okay, so now I'm gonna repeat that same thing that I did with the red earlier, the first color I used. So let's do the same thing. Here I'm taking a little white. So with this color, I'm not gonna go everywhere like I go with the other 2 colors. So I'm just gonna stick with maybe 4 or 5 dashes on each area. So let's say I'm just gonna add more this white on this blue area, to be honest. Alright, so let's say maybe just a little small dashes like that. So I'm done with that area. I'm not gonna go on that area. It's okay if your dashes is a little bit longer or shorter. You don't have to go back, make it perfect. You don't have to do that. Alright, so maybe some down here. Okay, I'm also adding maybe just some of the white on this area, just very random again, but not a lot like I did over here. Now that I'm done with this bottom of my painting, I'm gonna work on this leaves area now. Okay, so let's do that. So for that, I am done with my brush, so I'm just gonna clean it, or you can just leave it in your water. Now I'm gonna add some branches on our tree. So for that, I'm using my small little brush. Okay, and let's start adding some branches. Okay, so for this part, I'm not really gonna go too crazy at a whole bunch of branches. I'm just gonna go very slow, add maybe 3-4 branches first, and after I'm done with all of the trees, I'm gonna maybe step back a little bit, see if I want to like add more. Trust me, you're gonna get more idea. All right, so now for that, again, I'm just gonna use plain black color. So just taking a tiny bit of on the tip. I don't know if you can see that, just maybe a little bit. Just maybe I'm gonna start right middle of the tree right here, and then just a little curvy line. I mean, I'm gonna add a little bit of, okay, so I'm gonna show you one trick. Okay, so whenever I'm making up branches, I never ever use just a plain paint. I mean, there are so many people who can do that. I cannot. I think I'm not that good, but I'm gonna show you a very simple trick. This works every single time. Okay, I know that we're gonna cover our branches with the leaves, but anyways, I'm still gonna show you just in case if you want to make any different kind of a painting. This will help you with that. Okay, so for that, here I'm just gonna take a little bit of black, putting on side of my plate, and guess what, I'm gonna add some water here. Okay, so maybe 1 or 2 drop, and mix it all together. So with the 1 glob of paint, just adding a couple drops of water, and now you can see the difference. Okay, so do you see this branch right here? It's still not a sharp line, right? With this color, what I have on my brush right now, it's gonna give you that sharp line. So let's say maybe I'm gonna show you right here, starting from here, going all the way to the top, wherever you want to do. Okay, I can do one more line without even like stopping like that. So maybe one more. So yeah, something like that. Do you see a big difference? I mean, this trick always help me to make my line perfect. Like not too perfect, but just a little perfect. Okay, and after I'm done adding all of the branches, what I like to do is go back on my branch on the bottom of the area first, only because that's gonna look more better than what you can see right now. So for example, let's say maybe I'm gonna add like one branch here. Do you see it kind of looking a little weird? If you go and make this bottom of your branch area just a little bit more thicker like that, it's gonna look a lot more better than this one. Alright, so let's add some branches here. You don't have to again like add your branches where I am adding. You can just add wherever you want to, wherever you have space. Okay, we are all making our painting a little differently, so we all have a different space here. So let's add branches on those trees first, and you can also add branches on your branches. Again, it's all depend on how much space you have. And like I said earlier, it doesn't have to be like too perfect, because we're gonna hide these branches by adding some leaves on the top, right? So that's why you don't need to make any like thin branch right here. Just something is going on right there. That's all we want. Oops, I take a little red, but that's okay. All right, so now that I'm done adding my branches on these 2 trees, I'm gonna show you how I add branches on this ones right here. So again, you don't have to go too crazy and add too many branches on these ones. These trees, just maybe add like a couple of them. Like I said, we're gonna add like a whole bunch of leaves right here, so you're not gonna see this anyway. So just randomly I'm just adding, as you can see, I'm just adding like very random lines. Okay, and just maybe some on this one's right there. Alright, so now it's a fun time. Okay, so it's all already looking very nice. I don't think so I really want to add anything else. I can maybe just stop right here, but yeah, I'm just gonna clean this brush and then I'm gonna start adding some leaves. But yeah, this is very optional, the next part, to be honest, to add your leaves. All right, so now it's a fun time again. I'm gonna use my bigger brush, and let's see, I'm just gonna clean that extra water that I have on my brush, which I don't want. So use a paper towel or something and clean that extra water from your bristles. Alright, so now, do you remember how we dab like first time on the background here? We're gonna do the same thing almost. So I'm gonna start with the just a plain red for now. Okay, so here I'm gonna take a little red like that, just a little bit on the tip, and just because I don't want too much paint on my brush, I'm just gonna clean it on side of my plate like that, both side. Okay, and all I'm gonna do is just dab on where I clean my brush. So I'm just gonna dab right here. So this is what I'm gonna be doing on my branches. Okay, so let's do that. Alright, so now if you are using a bigger canvas, you can use your brush this way. If you are using a smaller canvas, you can use your brush this way. If you are using this kind of a brush or this size of a brush, if you have similar kind of a brush, maybe a little small one, you can use a brush this way if you want to, if that makes sense. I don't know. Okay, but here I'm just gonna use my brush this way, and all I'm gonna do is again dab. Okay, so let's say this is my branch. All I'm gonna do is just dab 3 times, 2 or 3 times. Start with the 2, see if you want to go back and add more. Okay, so maybe 1, 2 and 3. That's all I'm gonna do. That's all I'm gonna do. Okay, again 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can't really see any branches right here, right? Still just dab 3 times. Okay, 1, 2, 3 for this one right here. Again, I like to say start with the very less. You can always go back and add more, right? Okay, I don't have any more paint left, so I'm gonna take a little paint, put it on side of my plate, and then dab on that area. Okay, and then I'm just gonna do the same thing over here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, maybe a little bit more paint here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna be adding one more color here. So we are starting with the very less color here right now. Very less paint right now. Or maybe I should say less leaves right now. Okay, all right, so now I know there is no trees right here, but there are other trees around, right? Maybe on outside of our canvas area, right? So I'm also gonna add like little leaves, like little dabs on this area too here. Okay, just like that. Maybe some down here, just very lightly, like you don't have to completely like cover the whole thing. All right, so okay, now this is the time to think about, if you feel like you don't have that many of leaves on your branches, you can go back, repeat the same thing one more time, and then see if you like to go back more or not. All right, so I feel like I have very less leaves, so I'm gonna go back, do the same thing one more time. All right, so that's why I said earlier, like start with the very last steps. All right, so let's do this one more time. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Maybe 3 here. 1, 2, 3, 3. Okay. So yeah, just keep like dabbing like that. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit more paint here. All right, so I really want to also add some leaves, some of this kind of dabs on this area right here too. So if you are not comfortable using your big brush, I mean, you can also use a small brush and just like dab there that way if you want to, but I'm just gonna keep using my same brush and just maybe dab like a couple times down here, just like that. Also over here, a little bit here, like that. All right, so yeah, something like this. Okay, so now I'm gonna move on to my next color, which is pink color. So I already have enough red over here, so I'm just gonna add like a little bit white, mixing it all together. Maybe a little bit more white. So yeah, I think this is a good color. I am gonna be using this lighter pink. Okay, so now again, I don't want to hide all of my red. So, okay, so just maybe like couple dabs there, couple here. Not gonna add a lot of this color because of our background. And this is almost the same color. Okay, just a little bit down here. All right, so one last color I'm gonna add, which is white. For that, I'm just gonna clean my brush here, dry it on your paper towel. All right, so now I'm just gonna take just a plain white here, and again I'm just gonna like dab here because I only have like a little paint left here. But if you feel like you have too much paint on your plate, just take a little bit paint, put it on the side of your plate and dab just like you did with the red earlier here. All right, so now I have a little bit white, just gonna add like a little touch of white here, maybe a little bit right there, barely touching my canvas right here because I really don't want to add a lot of on one area, a lot of this color on one area. So first I decided to add just a little bit of this white everywhere, and then as I was dabbing I noticed that it's blending and it was looking a little bit better than a bigger glob of white there. So that's why I was just keep adding a little bit of white and then blend it with the more I dab, it blend with the red color. So yeah, so that's why I was just keep dabbing with a little bit of red, a little bit of white, see what's working and which one is looking better. So yeah. Okay, so one last color, which is maroon shade. Remember we used this color down here, so that's the color. All right, so into my I don't have too much of red left, so here I'm just gonna take like a little black on this area. Okay, this is the color I'm gonna be using. Okay, and with this color I'm not going everywhere, just maybe you can say wherever you add this color it's gonna be the shadow. Okay, so let's say maybe a little right here, just maybe a little here. Alright, so yeah, basically all I did is just apply this maroon shade on some area, and then I just go everywhere, to be honest, on all of the tree, and just make like bigger dabs and almost like blend all of these colors, whatever I have there, all the colors together. So something like this, I'm just like dabbing like that. Alright, so one last step left is I'm just gonna go back one more time on all the, like not all the, but some of the branches, and also on the tree trunk area. So something like this, I'm just as you can see, I really don't want to hide all of the black area of my tree trunk and branches with these leaves. So as you can see, I'm just going also a little bit on those branches one more time, like not the all the way to the top, but as you can see, I'm just adding a little bit of black everywhere. So mostly I go over the trunk for the trees, those are like closer to us. So I'm talking about those 4 trees, those are more closer to us, and the other trees, those are in the back. I didn't really focus on those a lot, just mostly on the one those are closer. So all the 4 or the 5 trees. Alright, so yeah, here I'm all done with my painting. I hope you guys enjoyed painting with me today. If you do, make sure you give a big thumbs up, and I will see you next time for another painting. And if you are new to my channel, make sure you subscribe to my channel to see more this kind of step-by-step DIY painting. So yeah, I hope you guys again enjoyed painting with me. I will see you next time for another easy step-by-step painting, or maybe like a DIY project. Alright, so yeah, I will see you next time. Bye.